Sora 2 has been taking
There.
social media by storm in many different apps, not only on their own platform, but causing a lot of chaos. But now we have Meta AI has dropped their very similar platform as well. What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome back, you guys, to another episode of Autonomous Income. I'm your co-host, Deuce Noble.
And I'm your co-host, DJ. What's going on today, Deuce?
Hey man, just another day, another dollar in this AI world that we are living in. But a couple things we want to cover, just something slight, nothing too much, but want to take note that Magic Leap and Google have unveiled their latest Android XR smart glasses, which is going to be
Mm.
pretty cool. We'll talk about it. We'll show you guys what it looks like and show you how they are in competition with Meta Ray-Bans. All right, and we have a couple other things we may talk about. We have some news that we hear Google may be dropping some fresh heat soon, so we're gonna shed a little bit light on that and a few other things. But DJ, what else you got on the books for us?
Yeah, man, we're going to be comparing. Everybody's been using Sora 2. I'm sure you've seen it on the interweb, a lot of realism. Meta AI released their kind of equivalent. They had a different take on this. They're going with a more vibes approach from their perspective. We want to kind of just talk about that to see which one that you may want to enjoy or use for your social media content and whatnot to kind of spice up your content a little bit. And also, we want to get into Tesla's latest full self-driving update because they've just recently their 14 update for most of their fleet, at least the Model 3 and the Model Y. And recently for the Cybertruck, if you're on the early access, then you have 14, which that one lags behind. So we'll talk about that as well.
All right, good stuff. So a few things to talk about. And so let's go ahead and start unpacking. Magic Leap and Google have really announced their newest collaboration and unveiled their Android XR smart glasses for the new Android XR ecosystem, and I think they are pretty sweet. They look a bit clunky to me, but also I think that they have really unlocked a sweet spot as far as being in competition with Meta and their Ray-Bans. So, DJ, I know you remember Magic Leap. Magic Leap, they are back.
I do, man.
And back in, I guess 2017, 18, probably even a little before that, they were really ahead of their time with the headset that they came out with. It was a VR
They
headset,
were.
combined with some AR, features as well. And they were really in competition with HoloLens. So now they have partnered up with Google and they have their new pair of smart glasses for Android XR, and they look pretty sweet.
Yeah, man. They extended, I think, the partnership with Google because they partnered with them loosely before. But yeah, you're right. Like they're partnering with them on this collaboration with this. And I would agree, it's probably not as sleek as like the Meta Ray-Bans, at least from a formal announcement. But I'd be interested to see what that form factor looks like. But Deuce, I know you remember that video. Do you remember that big whale? Like people were in a gymnasium and there was a whale that came up out of
Yeah.
the gym floor. And so they had the game on lock early. And this was like, when we were doing a lot of augmented reality work. And if you guys don't know, Deuce and I have some patents involved with that AR and everything like that. And so we were super early ahead of the game when a lot of these hardware companies were finally really pushing this in 2017, 2018, somewhere around that.
I'll even date it back a little further because Magic Leap in Google's history goes back even further to Google Glass. When Google Glass first came out back, the original Glass came out in 2014. Magic Leap was a part of that, which was unfortunately discontinued. But even way back then, they were so far ahead what we have now. Like that was really the precipice of that was the blueprint for, I would say, the Meta Ray-Bans. That's exactly what it's been doing. But it's interesting to see this is a whole decade and later what this is looking like, right?
So with that, this should be really refined. This should be really solid. And I'm interested because, Apple has their Apple Vision Pro and we see kind of their stance and their take and what they try to do with that. And with that price point though, Deuce, it just, from what we've seen, the data is kind of showing reportedly that it just hasn't sold probably as much as Apple would want it to, but that price point is pretty high. And, people just don't have that excess funds to be, picking up something that's $3,500, just for, you know what I mean? So with this, I'm just wondering, and with the Meta Ray-Bans, I think they're at $799 if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. We'll find the link to it. But it's more attainable. So I think that's why they've had more success. And also it looks like, glasses, like, some Ray-Bans, right? So, and it has the functionality. So I am interested. But We know with Google though, like very powerful technology and software is like really good, especially when that was the AR core that you guys were using before back in the day.
That was
Like
AR
Apple
Core
had,
was what Google
yeah,
came out.
and then
Yeah.
versus I think Apple had there was AR core and then
And
Apple
Apple
AR Kit or
had
something. AR Kit,
it was
right?
AR Kit. It was AR Kit for
Yeah,
Apple.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
right. So it's really interesting to see. I'm excited to see this partnership grow with Magic Leap and Google, especially with using this new Android XR ecosystem. And I think this is obviously the first of many partnerships with Google to come out with some hardware essentially for the optics. I mean, even with, Meta, we've seen, the Ray-Bans have really been taken over by storm. We've seen the commercials, we've seen everything, but they've also have some sunglasses that came out. I think Oakley. I want to say I forget what the actual model is, but they have some Oakley Meta Oakleys that have come out that are pretty
yeah.
sweet looking as well. That actually I think those are around 499, 599 or so. Don't quote me on that. But now we're into a space of
They're
we're
not
getting some.
3,500. That's what they're
That's
not.
right.
They're not, no,
That's
Meta.
right.
I think you could get you some the Meta Ray Bans and the Oakleys for less than 3,500. Now
Okay, you can get
quality and
more.
all those,
Look,
but
hey,
anyway, I
listen,
had to say
look,
that. I just
Black
had to
Friday
say
is coming up. You never know. You might catch them on a
it.
sweet little deal. You know what I'm
Black
saying?
Friday. I don't know if it's Friday and that much. I don't know if it's going to knock that 3,500. Even if it's 3,300, they say, look what we did. Nah, I'm good on
That's right.
that.
But but all in all, I think that the AR hardware space is in a good
Yeah.
place from now and going forward. I think, you never know where it might go, right? They might start using glasses to replace body cam footage for, officers, or they might start using it, in schools for teaching. You never know how it can transform the space. And I think it's really in its infancy. I really think Android XR is going to really take shape in the next year or two. So I'm excited for that.
With as we were talking before, like Gemini 3 reportedly might be coming out soon. I'm wondering if, maybe this might be, something that they touch on a little bit during that. So we'll stick to the speculation. We already have a video that kind of covers what we think will happen. And but
Hey,
essentially, I'm just wondering if those would kind of line up, Deuce, right? Like, I mean, like if they have the stage, they have people's attention, people are anticipatory, like they're anticipating Gemini 3 to drop and the whole industry's
if
kind of waiting on
Gemini
that. So
3 drop, all
and
I
then,
know is
I
is
think
up.
so yeah, because they've already Google really has made strides in 2025, and of course, OpenAI, as you've always alluded to, that's been such a tight competition, and everybody else is in there. But either way, just wanted to kind of, I'm wondering if those things will kind of line up. Why they have people's attention is to kind of really either showcase this hardware and maybe see what Gemini 3 can do with the XR glasses. Because what was it, Project Astra? Wasn't it Project Astra,
Yeah,
which where they were showing off the phone devices to basically do what this would do? But now Project Astra would probably go into XR, like
that
showing
actually be
out.
pretty
So
sweet.
yeah, I'm
That
excited, man.
actually be
I'm
pretty
excited.
sweet.
Yeah.
But, speaking of having people's attention, we know Sora 2 has been taking
Yeah.
social media by storm in many different avenues, not only on their own platform, but causing a lot of chaos on people sharing their Sora 2 videos on other platforms such as X, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, right? But now we have somebody to, I guess, quote unquote, compete in that field now. So,
Yeah.
Meta AI has dropped their very similar platform as well to, yeah, kind of draw some lines of competition with Sora 2. DJ, tell us a little bit more about it.
Meta AI actually dropped this ahead of Sora 2, but Sora two's wave Deuce just, I mean, we talk
Hey,
on this, right?
man.
And we talk with people at work and in the industry. It's like when OpenAI right now, when they do something, they kind of just really move the needle with it and everything. Either way, when Meta AI dropped, like their approach of it is what they call Meta AI vibes. So they're just saying like you can create different vibes. So theirs is more stylized and surreal, playful, short clips. But I've used it, played around with it. I mean, it's actually pretty good. Like it's it can be cartoonish, or you can go for realism. It's just not gonna be as realistic and story driven like Sora 2. But I think it's definitely worth if you're playing around with these tools, you can use it. For me, like if you're doing some marketing or if you're leveraging this for your business or your company, I would give Meta AI a try. Like dealing with Meta in their products and everything like that. Sora 2 is also super solid, but the content isn't, they're not going for realism. I would say that. So There is more, definitely more artsy and kind of dreamy, but they have a seamless integration, of course, into all of their things. So, like, you think your IG and your Facebooks and all of that, anything under their platform, it's seamless to create your content, and then you can, share that out or post it through all of your platforms for Meta, even Threads and all of those things. So, you know, have you had a chance to play around with it, Deuce, or what is kind of
I have
your
not
take on that?
got a chance to play around with Meta AI yet. It's on my list, but Sora 2, I've been making quite a few videos, which is pretty cool. A lot of different aspects. But I mean, not only did AI come out, but just a little small little pivot. Copilot also dropped something similar where you can do
Mm,
videos and images as well. So that's Microsoft's version. So there's a lot of, people coming into this arena now where you're creating things in a social media esque app to create your AI videos and content, right? So I think it's kind of pretty
yeah.
cool. And it's almost like take your
Hmm.
pick. And it's really going to be almost like a battle of who's the best, who can outlast, right? Like you said, I think Sora really it has taken a huge stake, of course, and we know how OpenAI works. Meta, of course, we know how Meta works as well and what they have accomplished. So we'll
1000%.
probably get to see a lot of that stuff in Meta AI really get incorporated into Facebook itself, in my opinion, or maybe even into Instagram or WhatsApp because of the nature of who their parent company is. But
Yeah,
that's just
yeah.
my
Right
two
now they
cents on
built
it.
up Deuce's 2 cents.
That's
They built a standalone app right now that they make it super easy for you to share your content. And there's like, it's almost just like Sora Deuce to where like there's a feed and you can go through the feed. And Deuce and I were talking earlier about like, sometimes on Sora you can create something, but if you share it with somebody, then it doesn't stay in where all your other generated things are. So a lot of these platforms are kind of just working through some of their user experience things that TikTok and other ones have had a chance to refine. And I guess on some of their other apps, like, IG or the Facebook app, they've had years to kind of iterate on those, but we'll definitely see how that unfolds, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I really think, like you said, we're really kind of at not the peak, but just really going up, the mountain of really seeing how this is going to take shape over the next couple of years,
Yep.
I think. But it's really interesting. I mean, one thing else I will say about those videos, especially on Sora 2 and just with Meta AI in general, the type of content that people is creating is very interesting. And I say that to say it's just from the good, the bad, the ugly, right? And some of it is really cool, some of it's really great. Then there's also the bad and the ugly, right? I remember my wife, she sent me a video and she was like, well, check out this video of this dog saving this baby from a fire. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Immediately I look at it and I'm like, okay, that's AI. She's like, wait, how do you
Yeah.
know? I said, I was like, honestly, to the trained eye, you can't really tell. But it's like it's these things, these content people are creating, like you can't really sometimes it is hard to tell, but in that
Yeah.
video
Cause
in
the watermarks
particular,
don't always work. You're right.
well,
You're
not
right.
even the
Yeah.
watermark's not always working. You could tell that somebody altered the video to try to get rid of the watermark. So it's like the video wasn't bad. It's just like, okay, we gotta have there's going to gotta be some guidelines that come out later, even with Sora,
Yeah.
having some community guidelines. But it's really interesting to see how it will take shape in the next couple of years, just because of that content, you give it to, one of our parents or someone even older or someone just not very, very tech savvy in general. Like I said, I mean, they may not
They
know,
might treat it as
right?
gospel. Yeah. Yeah. They
Like
might
you,
treat it.
you
Yeah.
may
Like it's
not know.
real.
Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
crazy some of these videos, and I've seen people are like, oh man, AI getting out of hand. But
Yeah.
that's just kind of the
But
nature of the beast.
that's true. Each one of the platforms, though, as a creator, right? When you're creating your content, it does have like a little toggle that you're supposed to put, like it'll say AI altered or
Of
something like
course,
that
right,
as you're
right.
posting those things. Now, is everybody doing it? I doubt
Of
it.
course
Like I know
not.
when I create content and it's there, like mine is, very obvious if it's like AI or something like that, because sometimes it'll just be something I think is funny or a concept or something like that. Or like
Of
when we're
course.
creating one is like intros and that we think is like your 8-bit intro that is like that was hilarious, right? And it's just us and it's just like a take on it or something that we use to animate and you kind of know that it has something. Those are very obvious, but you are seeing more realism stuff of like people doing like catastrophe, right? Like a tornado, or they'll do something, and if that gets sent out, it could create hysteria potentially.
Man,
Like,
there's
we'll see.
definitely even with that, yeah, you're right. Because there's been a video circulating of, it's just a really bad cruise crash. Basically, like, something happened on a cruise and it's absolutely AI. Like there's just things going on. Matter of fact, I think it was okay, recently there was a hurricane in Jamaica and you were looking at videos and you're at this point, you're like, okay, I don't know if this is AI or not. But
Yeah, that's true, man. That's
and
true.
unfortunately, there's that type of content is still being created, and it really causes some uncertainty when you figure things out. And this is the part of augmented reality where, of course, it needs to be some bounds, and some parts of it needs to be, very regulated, right? But
Yeah.
anyway, that's off of my soapbox.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah. And then also when you're using these tools, like definitely with Sora 2, you're gonna get content generations violations all the time. Like, and they're like they've swung the pendulum because when they first came out, you can create just about anything, anybody, whatever IP. And now like they've kind of overswung because like you can barely create anything. Like I was trying to create you and I in a restaurant eating a burger and then the restaurant was ran by robots or something like that, right? Just like some concept. And like it was like, nah, I'm not even creating that. So I think that these companies, they are kind of trying to find that sweet spot to where it gives people creative freedom, but then it doesn't, infringe upon either IP or just like cause, things like that to happen, Deuce. But we'll definitely keep y'all posted. You'll see some videos that come from us. Let us know your experience with those. Like, is it too sensitive? Like, what is your take on it, from your perspective? And what do you think, might help? Like, how can we help with individuals that may not just be into these types of things that really might believe, some of the things that they start to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know. Let us know even if that's something like you think is really weird or you think is actually pretty cool because we want to know. We're interested. We're obviously bought in. We're invested. But yeah, and I mean, but okay. The other thing, shifting gears slightly. This is kind of a funny thing, but also still one of the things that's kind of needs to be regulated. There has been now reports of employees or employers getting scammed by their employees from employees submitting AI generated expense receipts
Which
and
is crazy.
getting
Which
money
is
back
crazy.
for getting reimbursed for money they never spent. It's crazy because I mean, DJ, you and I, when we worked together, we, was always submitting expense reports, from where we
Oh
were
man.
traveling, going to
Traveling trips,
conferences.
whatever. Yeah.
So, I just think that's crazy to think about, right? Like, I mean, in a spot where you got to think about your company and the integrity, like, that's your job, like, it ain't too hard to find out,
Shit.
right?
That's your job. Like that's the thing. Like for me, it's just like the audacity of some people to even try with some of that because it's just like that's literally like that's where you make your living. You know what I mean? Like it's
Man,
but
you know what that is similar to? Almost that's like your boy Terry Rozier over here and Chauncey Billups. Y'all
so,
playing with house money at
yeah.
this point.
Play
You playing
around.
with house money. And when you say
Allegedly. Allegedly.
the
Allegedly.
chips are stacked up, allegedly,
The chips allegedly, yeah, allegedly. We don't know. Yeah, we gotta
you
let
playing with
that
house money.
be
But
playing with house.
these are
Yeah,
some of
yeah.
the things. This is one of the things though, the bad and the ugly part, ugly side of AI. Is it possible? Yes, but are you scamming? Yes, they probably live in Atlanta, so ain't no, ain't
I'm
no
not doing that.
telling. But I mean, but yeah, look, I thought that was just an interesting point. If you're out there doing that, stop it. It's
Don't
not
do it.
cool.
It's not worth it, man. Not worth it, man. I mean, like it is interesting, and like I guess because they're probably gonna have to boost up, what they're, whatever. Because I think Concur is one of the apps that people use, or some of the services people use, but if I'm pronouncing it right. But yeah, there has all these systems, so now they're gonna have to be robust and everything. But yeah, do right, people. If y'all go out there and you have that lavish dinner, don't try to charge that back because you're trying to ball, and go above your per diem. Don't even do it, man. Stick to your
Man,
per diem.
man, stay in
All
your per
right.
diem lane.
So as we shift gears, now we're talking about staying in lanes. We want to talk about Tesla and their full self-driving, the latest update, dude. So, man, 14, I think it was 14.4 was the one that went wide for Model Ys and Model 3s, I believe. I've ridden full self-driving 14 is what I mean. So full self-driving 14. That one is, I mean, it's really great. There is a little bit of brake stabbing issues. You can look at the channel, Dirty Tesla. He does a real good breakdown on a couple of videos just to kind of see what that is. And it's more aware than ever. So now, like if something's in the road or if there's an ambulance that's coming or any of those things like this, it'll pull over to the side. Now it's very aware, hyper aware of people, super sensitive to people. Not to say that it wasn't in version 13, but now it's just like if somebody's anywhere in the vicinity that could do anything, like it'll really, you can see it reacting to that kind of real time and the decision making and thinking. But it is on the positive side. I mean, it's a very confident driver. Like it is, I would say right now with this version that it's probably a better driver than most people. You know what I mean? Like most people that are on the road, honestly, like it just feels like it's better. And I wouldn't say every situation or scenario. I can only speak from my experience, but riding around in there, one of the big things that are introduced now, Deuce, is that it can take you literally from wherever you're parked at to the next parking lot. So you can choose a parking garage. You can choose if you wanted to put you on the curbside or if you want to park in a spot. So
Man,
you can go to Costco, you put in Costco and you have it go there. It's going to go up and down the aisles until it finds you a parking space and then park in that space. So it'll either drive in forward
Lord,
or backwards. And the Cybertruck, as of recently, also received 14 for the beta users. So if you have a Cybertruck, you have to go into it. I think whatever their advanced program is, so you can get the early version. And I think you should be able to get 14 because they lag behind. 14's been out for about
Lord.
2 or 3 weeks that it went wide, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, yeah, now, like I said, and people have, there's videos on there. Dirty Tesla was one of them. Sawyer Merritt is another channel. And it actually went through a drive-through, Deuce. And not only did it take you up to the little kiosk so you can, or the little where you can talk to it, drives up to the window, it's you finish all the exchanges, get your food, and then drives off. Like, you know what I mean? Like all
Flawlessly.
autonomously, flawlessly. And then you go through the
What
parking
I want
garage,
to
it
know,
stops at the little
I want to
ticket
know
thing, you get your
if it can
ticket,
do
moves the
this.
ladder up, all that.
If you go to a drive-through, you know how you go to drive-through, be like, "Hey, my bad, your food not ready, your order complicated. Can you move up to
Yeah.
spot one?" Can it do that?
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't see
That's a
that.
that's a little outlier caveat. Look,
If
come
I
on
go,
now,
if I
look,
go, that'll be my luck. Cause it's always, with a family of
right?
my size, like it's always like, oh, so you with that order, you gonna have to like go over there to parking lot
Look,
too or whatever. Yeah.
listen, your kids will pull up somewhere and be like, "Can I got some chicken nuggets?" We ain't got chicken nuggets. They in the back. We got them in the deep
Yeah,
fryer. Hold on 1 second.
yeah, man. I
But no,
mean,
I will say that is pretty sweet. Tesla, of course, I mean, light years ahead as they always have been.
it's just smoother, more confident, like enhanced situation. Oh, and the new modes. I didn't even touch on there. So now there's Mad Max. And for me, I would love to ask everybody that's out there. I don't even know why Mad Max is an option. Like some people, I guess, like to go fast, but Deuce, like when I say, like, you put on Mad Max if you feel like you want to get a ticket. Like Mad Max is faster than like what's going on. So
I
now
feel
I think there's
like
five
Mad
modes.
Max is really for, pun intended, you live out in Vegas, you gonna drive out to the desert real quick and put that thing to
Maybe. Okay.
use. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe if you
Why not?
if
You
you have a
lived
long
out
stretch of
there.
road, then yeah, okay, okay.
Man, you
I'll
know what I'm
give you
saying? You
that.
you out there in the Midwest or something with the flat
Yeah.
land?
Well, you have some people testing Mad Max in like downtown city areas, just I guess to
Well, no,
see
no,
how it
that's
react.
that's that's
But
wild.
that's wild. But I mean,
Or
like, but the thing is,
I'll
it's
give you
not.
another one. You
It's,
going was it 130 going down from Austin to San Antonio or vice versa? Get on 130 and you put that thing in Mad Max mode. What's the speed limit over there? 85, 90?
oh yeah, yeah, probably. Oh, there's like that.
The toll road
Outside of
between
Austin, that toll road. I
yeah,
think
that
it's
one.
eight. I think it's 80. Yeah, I
So
think it's
it's
80.
85 at one point. Once you get actually past like when you get that stretch from past Austin, but you going towards San Antonio, I
Oh
think it's
no, yeah.
85. Bro.
Yeah,
I've been
it
on there
might, but I
before, I will
know
say.
Dallas and Houston and like some of those areas. Yeah, they get up there. Like Texas in general, they get up there. What's another state that has? Maybe was it Florida?
I don't know.
But
Nah,
anyway, there's
Florida. I don't
certain.
think it's Florida.
You don't
I
think
don't think
okay,
it's
maybe
I
not
don't
Florida,
think
but I
it's
know
Florida.
I can speak. Some of the states and some of them you can get up there when it comes to speed. But I do know the one that you're talking about. I think that's like 80, 85, and maybe you can Mad Max. But okay, but if you Mad Max and imagine it's going 95, or I don't know if there's a limit because it doesn't let you set the limit anymore. It's just this five modes. So you have sloth, you have chill, you have standard, you have hurry, and then you have Mad Max. So those are the modes
Lord.
that you can select to put it in. Yeah. So you put it kind of in that mode, but it doesn't give you the like,
What's the 0 to 60 on Mad Max?
man, I don't know. And I'm not about to find out either because I'm not trying to pay a ticket just, to experience Mad Max. I'm not doing it. Maybe when it's full
Man.
autonomy and, they're taking like, I don't know how that's going to work.
Look, let us know if you're a Tesla driver, or even if you're not, would you put your Tesla in Mad Max mode? I want to know. And if so, where are you putting that in putting it in Mad Max mode at? Like, we
Yeah.
ain't got no Autobahn over here unless you're overseas in Germany, if which it's possible. But I'm just saying, I want to know, what are
I mean,
you
some people
doing
treat
to go that
I-10 like an
fast?
Autobahn. Like, but yeah, there's some people treat some of them, interstates like the Autobahn. But yeah, either way, yeah, something to look forward to. And it's hands-free, a lot of those things. I really think that they're going to get close to really doing whatever they need to do to try to open up full self-driving. As we talked about before, Deuce, you remember they expanded their map. Apparently in Phoenix, they're going to start doing their robo taxi service that's out there and everything like that. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Going to be interesting.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I look forward to hearing and seeing more about that, and I
Yeah.
think it'd be excited. If you guys are interested, please leave a comment. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and share. And DJ, what else you got? You got anything else for us?
No, man, I think we
Man,
covered a
all
lot of
right.
ground. When Gemini 3 launches, we'll definitely be hearing from us, and we'll let you
You heard
know
it. You heard it here
once we play
first.
it.
Or
Yeah.
we may or may not have the scoop, but we're just speculating. Who knows? You never know.
Who knows?
Gemini 3, will you drop or will you not? Hey, look,
All
find
right.
out on the next episode, all right?
This is Dragon Ball Z.
No, find out on the next episode. Peace.
Peace.